Hello, my name is Mike Cropsey, and today we're going to take a look at how to reset the root password in Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Now, the reason I'm doing this is, number one, it's required for the Red Hat Certified System Administrator exam, and if you can't do it, you're going to flunk the exam because they make you do it before you can actually configure one of the servers, and if you can't do it, all those next steps are, well, there is zero on the lab. You also may have to do this in production for any various reasons. So the reason I'm going to go through it today is I've noticed the documentation on the internet and even Grok or ChatGPT, when you ask them how to do this, tell you it wrong. They tell you the old way. And quickly I'm going to just go through the steps, and then I'm going to demo. All right, let's take a look at the list of steps. The change, if you're familiar with the old way, it's not a lot different, but there is a key area. When you go into edit in the Grub menu, and you still go to this place in the file. If you have these key value pairs, remove them. I do not in my demo because I'm running on Parallels. Then, instead of rd.break, which is what all the posts and demos, for the most part on the internet say, and Grok will tell you, and ChatGPT, they'll tell you to do rd.break, but that doesn't work. You have to put init bin bash. If you put rd.break, it boots you back into the Grub menu and asks you for the root password, which the reason you're doing this is to reset the root password. So that's not going to do you a lot of good. Then, of course, we're going to do the Ctrl X to boot. When we get back in, we're going to remount the file system in the read write so that you can actually change the root password. Now, this step is very important. If you forget to do this, the system will boot as if you have a new install and you're starting all over, which you don't want. So make sure for the SELinux process, it sees this hidden file at the root of the file system, so it knows to set all the proper file context again. Basically, relabel the security context. Then we're going to reboot, and depending on your system, if it's just a lab like mine, it's not going to take a long time. Once it does and relabels all the files, it's going to reboot again, and then you can use the new password. So let's go ahead and bring on my Red Hat Linux system. And I am going to do a sudo reboot. And I am going to be hitting escape as I go through the boot process. I am now in the Grub menu. I am at the proper selection, and I will hit E for edit. Now, we're going to scroll down to right here, the Linux command line, which has all these long parameters. I'm going to come up right to the end here, make sure there's a space, and this is where we're going to append the information. This is not going to be rd.break. This is going to be init equals /bin/bash. And then I'm going to hit Ctrl X. Now it should boot into a bash prompt. And keep in mind, when we get to this bash prompt, it's going to be in, the file system's going to be in read-only mode. I am now going to mount the system, or remount it, rather, into read-write. That is done. Now I can go ahead and set the password. Retype it. And the password is now reset. Now, do not forget this step, otherwise I mean, again, this is a test system, not a big deal, but if it's your production system, you're going to be a little bummed out because you'll have to do some recovery. So I'm going to do a touch / dot auto relabel. Make sure you spell that correctly because SELinux is looking for that exact file, hidden file on the root of the file system. I am now going to reboot the system. And when it boots up, you're going to see, I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. It will actually, you should see that it's actually relabeling the file system, SELinux is. If you don't see that, you probably forgot to do the auto relabel or spelt the file name wrong. Relabeling could take a very long time. It won't. This is a very small system. And it's going to reboot again. And when we log in, now I'm not I have the root interactive root password where I can't log in as root. Now keep in mind if you're taking, and the reason I'm doing this is if you're taking the Red Hat certification test, it's a hands-on test, and they are going to force you to do this. You can't get in one of the servers unless you reset this, and if you can't reset the root password, you're going to flunk the exam because I think you're going to miss half the questions because you have to get into that system to do the configuration on it. So if you can't get into it, you're stuck. So I'm going to log in and I'm going to test to make sure that my root password was in fact reset. Yep, and the new password did work. Now, whether this is something you need to know, just hopefully you won't need to know for a production system, but if you are looking to take the Red Hat certification test, that is one area you definitely will need to know how to do this. Thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any questions.